Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we'll be taking a tour of the gardens for the 5th week this season. I do weekly garden tours during the growing season here in Zone 6A of southwestern Pennsylvania. I'm growing vegetables, flowers, perennials, trees, shrubs, and everything in between, and just trying to learn how everything grows so I can start designing my landscape and growing my own food as well as I can. This week's main attraction is the lilies. The day lilies are starting to come in. The oriental lilies are starting to come in. You can see some behind me. And so are the calla lilies just coming into bloom. So we're getting some color around the property as well as food. I've been harvesting strawberries. I have the currants protected because I've been getting 1 or 2 ripe currants, and I've been trying to cover them up so the birds don't get them as they're ripening. We also have some tomato sets coming on. I've been picking a bunch of greens and radishes for my salads, as well as some salad onions, some spring onions. And if you've been following along, you know we had a stump grinder come in and take care of some things. So out front, all the stumps are gone, and the big maple stump is also gone this week. So I'm going to take you around the gardens today and show you what's blooming this week and what's coming into flower, as well as anything that I've been planting out there. Oh, I also got all the dahlias in the ground, so why don't we start up there. On the way to the dahlias, we'll be passing the poppy bed, which is looking quite good. Nice big splash of yellow all the way around, just coming out nice and feathery around the fence line, kind of blending that fence in, and it doesn't look too sharp and rigid, so I really like how those flow out onto the sidewalk. Right here you can see some daylilies popping out of the 9 bark. They're actually all through there. There's one in there. You can see a bunch of them up there. They're blooming right in the heart of the 9 bark. All stuck up in there. Your 9 bark needs pruned back. Not sure what we're going to do with that. It might go. As well as coming out here, we have a beautiful hibiscus blooming. Getting a dozen blooms a day on this thing now. Just gorgeous. The bottom's really filling out as well with the coral bells, cardinal star. And then down below in front of it, you can see we have a dahlia that's starting to flower. I topped that one, so it's actually branching out pretty well. You can see I topped it right in here. Yep, right there it was topped, and then it wide off, producing some more flowers. It's looking good. The hosta is also putting out a shoot for some flowers as well, but that hibiscus really steals the show. I think it looks amazing in this corner. Real nice. The pots are starting to fill out. You can see the whole pot's completely full of the petunia vista bubblegum, and this is the lime, I think, lime sweet potato vine. Trying to get it to spill over the side. If we look in here, you can see I do have a canna lily coming up. So I have a canna lily in this pot, and then I have one in the last 2 pots. So maybe we'll get some canna lilies as center features here. Coming up here, you can see the daylilies are all lined up along the driveway here. They're looking great, blooming across there. It's hard to see because the poplar tree's shadowing them right now, but that line looks really good. The pergola out here got a lot of work this week. So you can see all the white stakes in there. These white stakes actually are some old blinds, the pull-up drop-down blinds for windows in the house. I went and cut the little blind in half. You can see it's the little curvy blind you have in the house. I cut it in half and I wrote on it and used it as a planter tag because I needed something big for sticking up through the mulch here. So I got all my different dahlias labeled here: Nonette, Floodlight, Alvis Supreme, and some others. So you can see where they are. They're all speckled through there, and hopefully they're going to come up. I also planted a variegated reed grass right here. Yeah, that's what it is. variegated feather reed grass. That'll get about 4 by 4 in the full sun, so that'll go right there on the corner, give some texture, as well as this hydrangea puppy's on the run. Yep, straight through the dahlia bed. He's chasing a rabbit. Better get that rabbit, puppy. You chasing a rabbit, pup? Yeah, that's why some of my dahlias died. But right here is a dark angel hydrangea. It's got the dark foliage and the bright pinkish red coloring. I'm going to try and step through here. Here is a firelight hydrangea, so this will get, that dark hydrangea will get about 4 by 4 as well as the grass. And then this limelight hydrangea will get about 6 feet to 8 feet tall and wide. And it has some red dahlias that survive the winter coming up around that. Some more dahlias out here planted by the tags, as well as a new viburnum. I plugged in this Korean spice viburnum, very fragrant. I want nice fragrance out here by the pergolas I walk through in the morning. And behind that is the Crespo squash from Baker Creek. I'm trying to get this to train over, and I'm going to have that wrap around and go weaving through the dahlia bed. Here on the corner of the pergola we have a potato cucumber. I was wondering why this wasn't growing, so I took a look at it and I lifted it up, and underneath the leaf was a rather old or seasoned potato cucumber. So if you see that your cucumber plant is not showing a lot of signs of growth, maybe check and see if you have a cucumber on there that's past its prime trying to go to seed, because they will slow down whenever they get a cucumber to go to seed. They'll pretty much stop. The gherkins here are starting to put out some long runners, and I have to start training them up to the trellis, to the pergola lattice, so that'll be nice. They're starting to go up. The jelly melon I've already started getting up here, so that's what I do. I just pull it back through. Show you with this one. I just reach on in there. Got to be pretty gentle. I'm going to reach through, gently just bend it straight through the lattice. Let it climb up this side for a little bit, and then I'll shove it back through. That's what I'll be doing for the rest of the season with all of these gourds. Just taking them, picking them up, putting them through. And they'll start growing and weave all the way up the lattice. The rest of the gourds are just starting to grab on like the others, so this warm weather is going to be a big jump for them. Right here the eggplant is just starting to reach out after I topped it. You can see it's getting a new nub there. This one I didn't top, so we'll see the difference between the two. And then I have some more Mexican sour gherkins there. New addition this year, or this season, this week, is this trellis arch. I don't know if you can see that Durowell reaching all the way down. So I have the silver lace vine. So that's the silver lace vine climbing all the way up there, and then it's arching around, and it'll make a nice walk-through tunnel right there. I'm going to try and get it to reach all the way out, and I'll just keep pulling it down to the trellis so it can grow back up the way it wants. But it needed more space, so I had to give it somewhere to go instead of going across the top of my pergola. The honeysuckle is smelling very sweet and still looking very beautiful. I got it trained up to almost the top on both legs of the Durowell channel there, so once it stops bushing out, maybe it will go up a little bit. The purple passion or blue passion vine has some buds on it, so that'll be nice to see. I don't know how long it's going to take to bloom, but I just planted it in here, and I can definitely see some signs of growth with the little tendrils coming off here. The red trumpet vine over on this corner, I did a little bit different with the trellis this week as well. I took some little yard stake signs, the little stakes you use for yard signs, and I attached them with zip ties to my Durowell channel and made a little bit of a triangle wing coming out right there. Let me back up so I can show you what I want to do. I want to kind of train them up and across that triangle so they can drape over and make another little archway, but I don't want to actually put the full structure out here into the dahlia bed. So I'm hoping that's going to do a nice little drape and I can walk under it. Yep. Down here at the base, I did do a prune back on my dianthus. Cut all the flowers off. I deadheaded all of them, and we'll see if we can get another flush out of it. I got some buds on there, so hopefully. The food forest is really starting to fill out, getting some color all the way through. I'm loving the look. Once these get up real big during the season, it's gonna look real nice. The flowers are just starting around the edges, so there's not too much actual color in it. But I did add this hanging basket with 2 nasturtiums in it, a marigold and begonia in the centerpiece, as well as a trailing vinca on the back side. So hopefully we can get some color there. I do have some tomatoes starting. These are early girls. Get the cut lighting here. Got some early girls here, little small ones. Some more early girls starting on this one. So won't be too long now before we actually get some tomatoes to be eating out here fresh. My beans are doing very well. They're starting to grow up, about 6 inches, and they're looking rather dark and lush. I'm still waiting on this blueberries tomato. This little fella right here, the first one that came on. So I've been eyeing it up every day. I have some San Marzano coming on right here. You can see the different shape going on. They're more elongated. These are supposed to be really good for canning and for all your pasta sauces and salsas. I have to go around and deadhead all my basil, which I've never grown basil before, so I'm finding out that it's a very maintenance heavy plant if you want to prune it and not let it go to flower. But I mean, it's kind of nice because then you can carry around some basil flowers and sniff them all day, which I'm a fan of. No problems there. And get some more of these flowers out of here and get some bushy basil. My nectarine tree is just getting so massive. For being a little Tractor Supply tree in a bag last year to becoming this big massive shrub on the corner, I like it. It's doing real good. Down below I have marigolds and zinnias that are just coming into their own. I need to go ahead and top these right now. I'm going to top them so they don't go to flower and they can bush out and get a little bit branchier so they have more flowers and less height. Took some of the extra tomatoes I had on the patio as decoration and I plugged them into this spot where the potatoes did not come up. I did have one potato coming up over here towards the end. Right here was one potato, but the rest of them didn't come up, so I plugged in tomatoes and dark opal basil all along this end. And I'm going to let these go without pruning them. I'm just going to let them sprawl like they want to naturally grow anyway and see what kind of difference in production I can get out of them. The potatoes are looking real lush and green all the way down. Very full and healthy potatoes. I have no idea what I'm expecting to get out of these potatoes, but it's the first time I'm growing them, so you just got to grow them, try it out, see what happens so you know what to do later. Might get an idea from growing them or try something completely different next year. I don't know. But here's the bags I have of my currants. I don't know if you can see through the bag or not. Probably not. But they're still green. You can see them right here. You got green currants. I'm trying to save them so the birds don't eat them, but the birds are pretty vicious. You can see right here, they ate my white strawberry. I didn't even know I had a white strawberry, but I guess I don't anymore. and they already picked off currant. That thing was just starting to turn color. They already took it. My okra's looking fine. Okra's real slow to keep going because it's waiting on the heat. I've got some more zinnias coming up out here. Man, I wish they would grow faster. I need some flowers out here. I do not know what's happening with my gooseberry. It's got some type of disease, I think, on it. Whole thing's red and splotchy. I think I'm gonna need a new gooseberry unless someone knows what I need to do to save that thing. My peppers all out here, they're branching out. I can see like they're showing a lot of branching right here, a lot of structure in there. You can tell it's a sturdy plant and it's starting to put on some flowers, so we'll see how they do. They're just a little late in the season, I guess, right now. Used to having these things already producing by mid-June like it is. Looks like these tomatoes need another tie line on the weave method. They're starting to get tall and over top of the top line, so we'll be doing that here in the next week. Just like this one, it's completely fallen over. Look at that, fell over and curly-cued. It's actually got a little yellow pear started on it. See if I can get that back up there and hold. Yeah, that's better. The blueberries over here still need to ripen up some. I still have a little bit of time to cover these before the birds start wanting to eat them. I've been getting plenty of strawberries. You can see there's a bunch of white sets there, and I've been picking them every morning so I can try and get them before the birds. Yeah, there's some more strawberries in there, and the strawberries have been quite the success this year. I'm not getting bushels of them, but I'm pretty happy with what I am getting. So even though the food forest is pretty young yet, doesn't have any years on it, and all the berry plants are pretty new, I'm still getting some food out of it, which is nice because I get to see how the berries grow, what time of season they're actually ripening in, and what areas I need to fill in for when a berry's not ripening in that area or that time of year. So it's a nice learning experience to get to watch all these different berries grow out here, and I'll definitely be adding some more berries as I can get my hands on them. We did end up getting one more tarp down off the patio, the one right behind the roses. I went ahead and pruned all the roses really far back because we don't want them tall in this area. So I pruned them back, and I had to cut off a lot of flowers that were about to bloom. So I made this little bouquet arrangement of the roses that I had to cut off, and I think it looks pretty good, even though I didn't get to leave them on the plant, but we'll still get to enjoy them here on the patio. Turned out to be a nice little arrangement. We need to get this tarp off here because a lot of these vines are ready to grab on. They've been ready. They're actually starting to circle the ground and climb up the poppies and the... See, look how long that one is. That one could be climbing up the trellis already. But the poppies are starting to bloom through the gladiolas, which are starting to look nice. I like that. And right here you can see I got a bud on my gladiola. Hey bud. So these will be coming into flower in the next couple weeks as well. So hopefully we can get that tarp off and get them climbing up when those gladiolas start blooming. Right beside the ramp, the Virginia spiderwort's still blooming, and we got some daylilies coming into flower right in the center. Got some different textures, and the snapdragons are still blooming, and the petunias are really starting to fill out that bed. The calla lilies are not blooming yet or setting flower, but they're definitely up and they're getting ready. So there's perpetual color coming through, and I love it. Color whole time, plenty of color all season long in this. You can see I have all my extras sitting on the ramp wall here getting some sun. I got some portulaca, some coleus, a bunch of coleus I still need to get out, and I have some echinacea, some larkspur, some more coleus, some more larkspur, This larkspur is actually putting on flower buds. Maybe I can get that in the ground. And then this is my backup squash tray, because I lost a lot of squash whenever I put them out on the mound. So these are my backups for that, and they are just ready to go out now. Perfect timing. I need to get those in this week. I also have some zinnias and marigolds as backup, and those marigolds there, those are the Cracker Jack mix. Those will be going out front to finish off the marigold line where the stumps were. But I just keep a couple of these trays here as backups and as fillers for any area that I see that's lacking color. I got my staging area pretty much cleaned up here. I still have some peppers here because I want to see what they do. Because look at this. I already have a pepper on there. This is a mixed bell pepper coming on in this 72 cell plug tray. And then I have a jalapeno right there, and it's also in a little plug tray. So I'm just letting them go. I have enough peppers. These are all extras. I'm just seeing what they do while they stay pot bound in that little tray. And then I have some poblano peppers flowering right there in the back. I got tree cabbage, and I got butternut squash, as well as plenty of herbs and other peppers, and some more variety of squash over there, and some cell trays. And I don't know what I'm doing with them yet. I got some basil going to flower. See the nice big flower stalk there on that basil, little purple. So yeah, I got basil going to flower. That is blue globe, blue spice basil. Yep, smells like it. So yeah, bring you down into the garden here and see all the raised beds. I got to do a harvest on my lettuce. I'm pretty far behind on that. That's probably going to try to start bolting here soon. But yeah, I need to do a big harvest on my lettuce in the morning. And I might even have some radishes ready as well. Check and see. Yeah, looks like I got a red radish in there to grab. My beets are starting to come along. I don't know if you can see that in there. And the beets are starting to develop some shoulders. Pretty nice to see. The onions are doing good in this square foot method, but I can tell, and you can tell, the onion here that gets all the sun is progressively bigger than the onions that don't get the evening sun. So I need to do some weeding in here, but that might be slight downfall to the square foot method of planting them so close, but we'll see. We'll figure out if it bulbs up just enough anyway. Might get big enough onions either way. Let's see here, got some pickles starting. It's nice. And I came out here one morning and there was a rabbit actually inside this raised bed, and it ate the top right off my tomatillo. So that was unfortunate. I need to get my box trap down here and see if I can catch that rabbit before it eats all my stuff. I got some stakes in here because I needed to prop up my ground cherries. They're starting to put on some little husks of ground cherries all over, so I didn't want them sitting in the dirt. I got some tomatillos, not tomatillos. Got some ground cherries coming up here that I direct seeded, so hopefully those will come up nice. I planted my American flag leeks along this row here. I planted them in clumps down here, and then I singled them out about every 4 to 6 inches going along the inside edge of this. Hopefully some of them take. I like to just try a leek. Never had a leek, so I might as well try one. These onions are doing pretty good. They're a couple weeks behind my other raised bed onions. But these kohlrabi are looking a lot better than my other ones. I have a dozen kohlrabi here, and at least 10 of them are looking good. Real nice. I got some more radishes that I could be harvesting here. These are the French dressing radishes, so I will be harvesting some of those. We've been getting a lot of radishes and root vegetables like the onions, and then I get plenty of greens for dinner as well. Inside here on the squash, we are getting some fruit sets. Ants are working all over it, and I'm getting some yellow squash fruit sets. I do see a couple zucchini female flowers starting. The female flowers have the zucchini starting to get a female flower right there. You can see that's the female flower because it has a baby zucchini attached to the back of the flower. That one will open tomorrow morning, you can tell. So I don't have any male flowers that look like they're about to open, so that might not get pollinated very well. Back here, my cabbage is doing pretty well. I did spray this with BT 2 nights ago. As you can see, it's definitely getting eaten up here. Getting something's eating it. But hopefully the BT got it. Because the cabbage is starting to head up. So you can tell right here, starting to get a ball. Like to see that. Some of these are getting the head as well. That one's a lot more firm. This one's pretty open and airy. And this one looks beautiful. And yes, it is. That one is gorgeous. Picture perfect cabbage right there. Starting to head up beautifully. This is my Waltham. Yes, this is my Waltham 29 broccoli. You can see I've already been harvesting off of it, but it looks like I'm going to get another broccoli right here. So, can't expect to get a ton of broccoli off of 6 plants. And then I have 6 purple sprouting broccoli back here, but I'm not getting anything off of those. I'm not sure what the deal is with purple sprouting broccoli is yet, but I just wanted to grow these plants so I could see how they grow, what size they grow. Puppy lost me. Hey puppy. Once puppy loses sight of me, he comes running. But I wanted to figure out how these grow so I could grow them next year. I harvested a nice 4 to 5 inch cauliflower right here. Looks like this one might produce one. It looks like it's cupping right there. But I'm just trying to figure out how these grow, how long they grow, and then I can figure out what I like to eat, and I can grow more of it next year in a better organized fashion. Down here, the rabbit destroyed all my fabric right there, foraging through. But I got my giant pumpkin dusted so it doesn't try and sniff it or eat any of it. I gotta keep dusting it every so often as it produces some new growth. But this is just about to set down. So I got the vine going in the right direction, but it's got to have a little bit more time and then the vine can set down. I wish it wasn't going to set right on this leaf, but it looks like it's going to. And then it'll start setting root and I can start burying and going on from there. It's going to be another journey with this giant pumpkin. Last year was a bit disappointing. I grew the pumpkin almost to completion and then it blew up from a watering disaster. We'll talk about that some other time. But the pumpkin is in and it's starting to take root. I think it's looking good. We have a chance. The squash mound's starting to fill out, which is nice to see. Not this is all weeds. I got to get in there and pull that. I got some more oriental lilies right here. That one wants to open up here soon. Puppy, out. Get out. Come on, get out. And the Empress, take a look in here. You can see it's got a tri-leaf structure, and I've been taking off all the suckers. You can see that mound of leaves right there. But it's looking good. It's pretty big for this time of year, but it's coming along. I got some other suckers I got to pull out of there. The squash mound is looking pretty good. You got the daylilies right here coming on, and I got an Asiatic lily there. The squash is just starting to come off the mound here. I've been training it, trying to keep it from getting tangled up. This one's doing probably the best. It's already almost at the bottom of the mound, but that's exactly what I want it to do. Start hugging the ground, and then these tendrils will grab anything they can to hold it in place from blowing in the wind. This one is the field pumpkin. You can see this one, I'm just turning it carefully to get it to come down the mound instead of the back side of the mound. But this squash mound so far is doing a lot better than my last year's squash mound, and I'm pretty happy with it. I need to get the replacements out here, fill in the little gaps, and then I think we'll be set to just water and go with this squash mound. The center of the ring down here is another Asiatic lily, and this one is going to be pretty nice this year. You can see all the bud sets all over it, so that's going to be a nice colorful centerpiece. I do have my elephant ear tree growing up right here. It's doing fairly well. It's got a couple sprouts on it. Might need some more water being in this dry zone we've been having. It's been pretty dry all week. We keep getting the sign of rain, and it still doesn't rain. I don't know why they tell us it's gonna rain, because it just moves right over our house, and we're in like this little pocket, so I don't know. I have to do all the watering myself, which sucks. Out front here we have some astilbe that's starting to come into flower, as well as the variegated hosta. See nice pretty whiter blooms on that, and then the pink astilbe is really starting to come into flower. That'll get bigger, fluff out. The hostas still look good, and these ones are starting to flower as well, starting to push up some purplish blooms and white. That's the Empress Wu hosta's second year from bare root growth, and it's looking a little bit better than last year. I only had one leaf last year, so pretty happy to get what I got this year. The hostas are looking good. This one has a lot of hosta has a lot of shoots sticking out of her, so she's gonna look a lot full this year, add a lot of color to this corner. I like this area, but we're gonna have to get rid of this Rose of Sharon right here that I pruned up last year. I like the look of it and when it flowers, but all that greenery you see under there, those are Rose of Sharon seedlings that fall out and try and regrow, so it is very, very invasive. We have Rose of Sharons all over the property, so I might have to get rid of this one. I won't get rid of it and kill it. I'll just dig it up, move it somewhere else, and put something a little bit less invasive in this front little garden bed. Right here I got my row of marigolds all planted in here all the way down. And then in the center you can see the allium is starting to put on its flower buds. It's funny because all the allium families, I've noticed, do this little curlicue with the flowers. They're always curled up, and then they stand straight up whenever they're ready to bloom. I think that's cool how all the alliums do it, the wild onions and everything in the allium family, even the garlic. Up here the pot's doing pretty good. Got the Dusty Miller, Dracana, and the Purple Wave petunias. They're starting to fill out. I spun the pot so it kind of pull this way with the sun. The Dracanas and the Impatiens are doing good with the pansies in these small pots. Up. They're looking pretty good. I had to pull that center pot out because it has portulaca in it, and it was not getting nearly enough sun back in along the house. So I had to pull it out here, and it gets a little bit more sun, at least on the front of the pot, for probably a full day of 6 hours during the evening sun. Here under the hemlock tree I got my burning bushes planted. These are annual burning bushes, so they won't flower or anything. They're just going to be green all summer and then autumn off a bright vibrant red color. I got 27 of them planted around the ring, and they're pretty much my fake boxwood hedge until I can get some boxwoods in here and plant a real hedge. It's just pretty much a mock hedge to see how it looks and try it on for size this year before we really make the investment of 20 to 30 boxwoods for this ring. Over here it's starting to fill out with gladiolas, and some of the lilies are coming up. I put in that Mexican feather grass back there just as a tester to see if I'd like it, but not sure it's going to go there either. Trying to find a place for it really. But this needs something out here to add some texture, color. Maybe it would look good in there. You tell me. The knockout roses are really holding the corner together out here, as well as the purple rose here. It's also a knockout, I believe, just a different color. The canna lilies are coming up there. You can see them behind that Mexican feather grass that I was just trying out in the area, trying to see the look of it before I actually plant them in there. And over here I put in a balloon flower, which is a small mounding perennial, but it puts on little purple blooms, which I like because it's kind of a 4-petal star there, and this one's a 5-petal star. Strange. We got the broccoli going to flower here, and I'm just letting it so I can see how it reacts and what the whole life cycle of the plant looks like. So it's always nice to see, learn about something different. Coming out here, you have to watch your step because we have elephant ears coming up in different locations, and that's what they look like. Little tiny elephant ear popping out of the ground. But out here we finally got all the stumps removed going down the edge of the perimeter of the road here, so that's nice. Now I have to go through and plug in my marigolds where I lost them, and I can have a nice long marigold hedge there, which I like that. We got some red lilies coming into bloom right here at the bottom of my mailbox trellis. The hostas are starting to put on some flower shoots, and the mailbox trellis is looking beautiful with the clematis blooms. It's looking good from both sides. It's got a full bloom on it all the way around. And then I got the yellow lilies in front of the rocks. So the purple and yellow is looking good coming out of the driveway. These lilies I think are red or orange, and they'll be opening up here soon in the next week or so. I got a volunteer watermelon coming up right here, so I'm gonna leave it, see what happens. I actually got a few of them coming up, so I don't know, we're gonna see what happens. I got some peppers and tomatoes planted in there for decoration, and I got my purple hyacinth bean vines climbing this tree. They are up to here so far, so that's about 3 feet almost. Hopefully I can get them to fill out this entire tree. Thanks for coming along for our week 5 garden tour here at Whitt Acres. We are gardening here at home, trying to learn about different plants, and maybe you can come along and learn with us. Kept it short this time because there's not a lot going on. There's just a lot of plants setting root, getting really started in the season. We had another cold snap, so that kind of held things from progressing. But a lot is really starting to show growth. A lot of the flower buds and the annuals are starting to open. We'll be going into lily season here, which is very nice to watch progress through because the lilies open up early and late, so we'll get a nice long season of lilies. But in the vegetable side of things, we probably have a couple more weeks before the summer squash really get underway, and the tomatoes definitely have a couple more weeks before we get any of those. There'll be a lot more to see next week here at the property with the vegetables and flowers going on, because the annuals are going to start up and the lilies will definitely still be blooming next week. We'll have a lot of color and hopefully a lot of food next week. That's all for this one. Thanks for watching. You can find me and Echo on the next one.